You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
The situation that we was dealing with that coup is, you know, it's very topical, and also it's, you know, it affected the country greatly. You know what I mean? It affected the country greatly. So, okay, you'll say he apologized, right?
So like yes, sir. No, there was.
Say that one more time.
So like yes, sir. They was making comments on how he didn't apologize, sir.
Up to you. You straight? Okay, no, so go ahead, Al.
Yes, sir. He was making comments on how he didn't apologize, sir. That's the last thing I heard. That's the last thing I personally heard on this, sir.
Has he apologized at all for it? Okay, that's what I thought. I know he's not going to apologize for that. Because of course, okay. Damn, I really wish I pray we had more time, but we're gonna start it a little bit tonight. Hopefully we're gonna revisit it again next week and go through a little bit more with it, right? Why is he not a first for people who don't know? Somebody who remembers what happened with the coup. Anybody knows about it? I know y'all baby face, y'all just come out of pull-ups and diapers. I know y'all might know about the damn coup.
What I could remember, any Robertson, I believe was.
Yeah, I was talk about what's going on now. We're gonna do it a real short tonight, all right? Nothing too long, maybe about 35 minutes, just because of the timing of it. All right. On Friday was the 27th. It was 18 years since there was an overthrow of the Trinidad government. You know, a lot of people died. The leader of the country was shot. He was threatened, and you know, people have mixed views on it. All right, a lot of that generation is no longer really. I ain't gonna say they passed, but they're older now, and there's a huge disconnect now with a lot of the younger generation. I don't know how much people really understand what was going on with the coup, what led up to it, the factors that affect the whole thing, and then after, how is it that this man, you know, he's a brother, of course, he an Israelite. How was he able to hold the country ransom for a week? You know, at his actions, a lot of people died, whether he physically pulled the trigger or not. And then, you know, he's still walking around today. I believe the government gave them what, reparations or something for damaged property. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna dive into it and clear up the fog, because it's a very easy solution to the whole thing, and it's a very easy understanding of what happened there and why it happened. And really, the main issue there is the dangers of religion and how religions cannot help Black people, period. You understand? So go ahead. Who was taking a shot at it? Who was bringing him up to speed? Somebody bring him up to speed real quick.
Yeah, what I can remember, 28 years ago in 1990, right? Abu Bakr tried to overthrow the government.
Wait, it's 28? I say 18. God damn. Salakia. 28 years ago. God damn. Some of you wasn't wrong. Who wasn't wrong? Don't show your hand. Don't show your hand. I'm joking. Don't raise your hand. Don't give it away. Don't give it away. All right, go ahead.
Right, the President A.R. Robinson, the Prime Minister at that time, and apparently things was going not too well in the country, and Imam Yassim Abu Bakr started a coup to overthrow the government.
And who was Abu Bakr?
Abu Bakr is the Imam, one of them, a Muslim. Right? He and a group of people, right? He has some soldiers with him.
Right.
Muslim people. The tried to overtook the country. Right now, he made a statement on TV for people not to loot and stuff like that, but people started to loot, go on the streets, take French stove, TV, cars, whatever. riots, right? Some people died.
A lot of people died.
And I believe a week after they surrendered.
Right. That's it in a nutshell. All right, that's it in a nutshell. Anybody else want to add anything to it?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Al.
Also, as well, after they surrendered to the COUP, they got a full pardon, so they were not prosecuted for what they did.
Right, that's very correct. After they surrendered, after people died on their watch, after some of the men murdered people, or let me pin it on the right person. After Abu Bakr murdered people, they got a full presidential pardon. Right, they got a full presidential pardon, and they were given, I believe, reparations because the government destroyed their compound that they was, building on at the time. Right, so that's as I want to bring something out. Go ahead.
That's right. In New York, talk about Abu Bakr,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole COUP, I didn't know what it was, but then eventually, like a little before I came to the truth, I see the whole thing on the video, like on YouTube, I think.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I said the Muslim man. I mean, so my brothers out in Trinidad, and they go and run up in like the parliament,
right,
with the AK and thing,
right,
and go, yeah, I mean, doing damage,
right.
And they say, I like it. I like it. Look, I mean, I don't support Muslim, I don't support Islam,
right.
I would never do nothing like that, right? But the time I was feeling it, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and at the time I kind of wanted to put Jamaica. But anyway, we're the truth now. We have a different mission. Right? I mean, so my mission is to bring the truth to Jamaica and elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And do my work as commission. You know what I'm saying? By Commander General Honor.
Right.
Right. But then I didn't know, because I thought that Abu Bakr went to jail.
Okay, I think initially he went to jail. Initially they arrested him, they went to jail. But brother, it's so much sliminess going on. There was no way they was going to put him. There's no way they was going to do anything to him. And he knew it from before he took over the group. Go ahead. That was it?
Yeah, that was it. So I said the man run up with AK and then thing on TV,
right, talking
about Islam, and they don't support the kind of belief and the way that other countries may run. Mm-hmm. They want to instill like an Islam thing in the country.
Right.
Also, Abu Bakr, I think him and his men they get trained from some Muslim countries. There's some Spain that leads to some Middle East place, mm-hmm. and then they get trained and come back, and that's the kind of regime they run with by the training they get from the Arabs.
That's also true. That's also very true. Right? Anybody else? Tommy? You good? Tommy, I was like, I'm just here for the bright lights. I have no idea. All right, no sweat, no sweat. Abu Bakr, all right? Okay, that name Abu Bakr first begins a common name. All right? It's a common name. Let's get a little history on the name. Anybody can see this here? We're gonna read this. Nice on love.
Son-in-law, the Islamic prophet.
One second. Start right here.
Mm-hmm. Abu Bakr As-Siddiq,
whatever. Whatever. Right from here.
573 CE, 23 August 634 CE.
Right. So the famous Abu Bakr existed in 573 CE, which is the common era. So some of us we know it as AD. The timeline goes BC, AD, before Christ, in the Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord. So they have CE, they have before Christ, and then in the common era. So after Christ supposed to be the common era. So 573 years after Christ, he was born, and he died in 634. Which was right around the time Islam, as you know it today, started mobilizing the one God, Muhammad. Before that time, the Arabs had 365 gods. They had a god for each day of the year. They were the most. Hold on one second. You have some shit like that? You trying to get in that? We're going to do it real short. We started a little bit late, all right? I sent you the invite. You can get online or you need to jump in on the phone. Hey, don't sweat it. Just move your phone, all right? If you need to say anything, say SHALAM, all right? All right, so this was right around the time modern day Islam was being born. All right, this was right around the time, you know, Muhammad is doing his, you know, moving around, stealing the religion from the real Jews, the whole concept of one God. All right, you have, what is called it when you have many gods? Polytheism. There's polytheism. You know, there's another one. I forget it. They used a lot for the Greeks. But the Greeks had a lot. What?
One God is monotheism.
One God is monotheism. Polytheism. A polytheist is somebody who believes in many gods, many doctrines, which all come to one. The Arabs were no different than your Christians. The Arabs were no different than your Hindus. It was a very heathen custom to, you know, have a god for everything. You understand? If you live in, you know, you live in a desert and rain falls, you start worshiping the rain, right? If you live in the desert, for those of you who don't know, in desert areas, there are no trees, so there's very little cloud cover, right? Cloud cover has a lot to do with, you know, vegetation on the land and stuff like that as well, in tandem with the geographical area of the land. But where there's no trees, there's very little cloud cover. You know, the air is less thick, it's less dense, so it doesn't hold as much heat. So during the day, it's very, very hot. At night, the temperature dips. You understand? At night, the temperature dips. Certain desert areas, certain arid areas, it gets very, very low at night. You understand? So now, of course, you know, the Arabs, they are known as merchants. Historically, they are merchants. All right, somebody called Jeremiah 3:3. Right, it's true. They are merchants. Go ahead.
Around what time Islam was created, sir? When this guy was around, what's his name? Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad. Around what time you said he was around?
This was give or take 50 years, but around 600 AD.
Around 600 AD.
Yes, around 600 years after Christ is when, you know, modern day Islam came into existence. But
also, sir, we have to get a reference. What's our reference point that we use? What's the book? Which book?
It's in the Babylon to Timbuktu, I believe. You could Google it. You could just Google, you know, the history of the Quran and Muhammad, and you'll see the dates come up. It's common knowledge. In the Arab world, common knowledge. You ask any Muslim, when was the Quran written? Around 600 years after Christ. Right, 600 years. 22, right? 622 AD. They had this Abu Bakr who died in 634, so that's why I say it's around that era, right? 622 AD. You have what is that? The Quran. Muhammad. Right. That's what's in Abu Bakr's reign, right? Abu Bakr's lifetime, not his reign, right? The original Abu Bakr. When I say the original, I'm not saying he's the exact first one with the name, but he is the one who every Abu Bakr is named after, right? Just like David, you know, King David. If your name today is David, you named after King David. You're not named after David, who, you know, was a bricklayer in Egypt. You're not named after that David. You're named after the David who killed Goliath. You understand? If your name is Matthew today, you're not named after Matthew who, you know, I don't know, well, you know, was in Sodom and Gomorrah. You named after Matthew who rode with Christ. You get the point? You named after prominent guys. Abu Bakr is like a name. It's a name, but it's damn near like a title now. You get the point? Very famous Muslims have that name, Abu Bakr. Right? You have regular ones, but of course, there are very famous Muslims who have that Abu Bakr title, who typically men who wield some sort of power, men who have some sort of power, mass influence on people. They often have that name Abu Bakr. All right. So go ahead.
Popular known as Abu Bakr was his senior companion, Sahaba.
So you're right, Sahaba.
Sahaba, and through his daughter, the father-in-law of
his daughter
Aisha, the father-in-law of the Islamic prophet Muhammad.
Right. So Abu Bakr, his daughter was Aisha. That's one of Muhammad's women. Right. I believe this was the line here. I know one of them was like 9 years old. Maybe Khadija. I think he had one named Khadija as well. All right. Go ahead.
Abu Bakr became the first openly declared Muslim outside of Muhammad's family.
Mm-hmm.
Abu Bakr served as a trust advisor to Muhammad during Muhammad's lifetime. He was involved in several campaigns and treaties.
All right. So now, when you I'm gonna do it in short. When you start going into the history of Islam, right? What it is that you have their man Muhammad, you have Muhammad's blood relatives, and then you have Muhammad's friends or his associates or people who are not blood relatives. And that's where you get the split between, I believe, the Shiite and the Sunni. One sect was his bloodline. The other sect was people who believed in his doctrine, but had a difference with the bloodline. You understand? And that's how you get that split. Okay, and that type of split is very typical once one strong man dies. Right? It happened with Alexander. When Alexander died, he had 5 generals under him. His son was who? Antiochus? His son was Antiochus. Then he had other ones. Ptolemy, Antiochus. They're in the Apocrypha. All right? There's 5 generals he had. And Alexander was, of course, in charge of Rome. And Rome, as you know, was what? Greek. He was in charge of Greece. But of course, the Greco-Roman Empire was very vast and wide. After he died, those 5 generals split the empire, right, into 5 different parts. Go ahead. I believe it's 5. I could be wrong.
Ptolemy,
Cassandra.
And
Antiochus is one. There's another one. I believe it's right in the Apocrypha, right when they talk about Antiochus. Just pull it up if you lost as to what I'm talking about. It's just right there in the story of Maccabees in the 1st chapter. Right, I believe it's right there in the 1st chapter. It'll tell you the 5 men. All right. Let him look up the other one. All right. I ain't want to keep you brothers too late because by now we're wrapping up the class. All right. What you have?
Genesis 37 and 28.
Okay, hold on. So now that's where you have the Islam starting, and you have the 2 main sections of Islam, which is Shiite and Sunni. And of course, from that, over years and generations after they rose in power with their violence, and then they declined in power afterwards with how many different crusades and stuff like that. Of course, you're gonna have splinter sections of them. All right, like in any religion. In any religion, you have some of them who's extremists, some of them who's orthodox, some of them who's conservative, some of them who is this. Just like Rastafarianism. You have Bobo Shanti, you have Nyabingi, you have 12 tribes, you have Orthodox. You get the point? Start with one at some time. And of course, once that one person gone, in typical Christian fashion, respect a person's, well, everybody follow me. No, everybody follow me. No, everybody follow me. And now you have a mess. All right? So now, fast forward years later, you still have the 2 umbrellas, Shiite, Sunni. But even under those, you have different subscriptions, you could see. You have different little groups, different little sections, right? One of them, the small ones, of course, Islam made it to Trinidad. How? Who knows?
So I guess I don't know what. So I guess
take a guess.
So I guess between the same channel that explained it, sir. When the around that time, sir? Because the Arab had slavery for 1,000 years, right?
No. No. You might have to go back and watch a few videos on the same channel.
I'm good, sir. Don't take them, sir.
I gotta want to know. I talk out my lungs for 2 hours every Sunday. You might have to go back and check out the good history on this channel, brother.
I'm good, yes, sir.
I know that everything wrong with Trinidad right now is because the Fatel Razak didn't sink.
Yeah.
Everything that wrong with Trinidad right now. If a mosquito bites you tonight, blame it on the Fatel Razak. Just understand that, right? Yassin Abu Bakr, the Trinidadian, he didn't understand that. He blamed it on a government.
Right.
He blamed the poverty on, you know, another brother in another religion sitting in another seat of power. He blamed him. He did not blame 400 years of slavery on the condition of Trinidad from 1985 to 90. Right? He didn't do that. So that's what we're gonna get to. All right, I'm gonna do you all like how they do on Power. You know what I mean? In about 10 minutes, I'm gonna say next week on Power. Then you're gonna come back next week and get the whole thing. Don't worry, I'm gonna give you a good cliffhanger. All right. Go ahead.
I watched one of the videos with the Fatel Razak.
All right, so help me out. How did Islam come to Trinidad?
So I want to take a guess concerning what it is saying, all right?
All right, come on.
When you see Mr. that come across some looking for one fence, and come across instead of 20 to 24 fence, right? Some of them was Muslims that come across?
Yes.
All right.
At that time, the Indian Empire was fractured because of the British rule and rebellion. India was in war and decline, severe poverty. Some of them was Hindus. A lot of them was Muslims. You understand? On that boat came dreadlocks, came Hinduism, came Islam, and your present-day oppressors in Trinidad. All right? That's what came on that boat. So now, that's where we end now, right? Islam is in Trinidad. It's the religion of another people, not the East Indians, but the Arabs. But the East Indians have taken it on because of the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire, the Persian and the Medes stretch as far east as East India. The tribes of Elam, some of them come under that Persian Empire umbrella. That's why you have Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India, all the same people, but because of the Persian Empire, or the residue of it, you have that country or that region broken up. But really, they're all the same people, which is Elam. You get the point? So now Islam is in the country in what year? Yeah, man. None of you are from Trinidad. Go burn your passport. Fatel Razak in what year? All right. First person get a bottle of Johnny Walker. Somebody's like, I don't know it, but I will get a shot.
Yes, sir. Like, yes, sir.
Yeah,
1865.
Anybody else?
Like, yes, sir.
He's like, I could get that Johnny.
1845.
Again?
1845.
Anybody else?
Like, yes, sir.
Go ahead, come on.
Same thing.
All right, well, you have to split the bottle then. All right, I got one. This on you, all right? You owe them a bottle. I didn't put the man down there. You had a lot of my promises. All right, it was around in the 1840s. 1860s a little bit too late. It was around the 1840s. When was slavery abolished? So-called abolished in Trinidad? 1838. Right? These are facts you have to know, right? I'm right or wrong, that one? You're looking at me like I'm wrong. I might be wrong.
So like at 1834.
1834.
Yes.
Sure.
Slavery was abolished. I believe it was 1834.
Okay, I know. Okay, it was 2 dates. One was 1830 something, and then the other one was 1838, where they put things in place in 1 year, and then the next year is when everything went, you know, so quote unquote free, right? So 1834, 1838, around 1845, 1850, the Fatah Raza came to Trinidad, right? Soon after, because that was around the time the Indian Empire was under pressure from Britain because of, you know, the Industrial Revolution destroyed India's main export, which was textiles, right? So most iron cracks, but not really. They should have just kept making textiles, so you know our curry could have been pure. So now between let's say 1850 and 1960. Islam was relatively unheard of. It was relative. When I say unheard of, it stayed within them. All right, it stayed within them. I would even go as low as 1920s, maybe is when it started stepping outside. All right, Islam really became big in around the time of the 1960s and 70s with what was happening around that time.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
It was supposed to be, you got so-called independence in 1960s.
That's a good point, Sean. You and man paying attention. I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's an excellent point. But there was something else globally that was happening. I want to say globally, not around the world, but there was an event that was happening somewhere in the world that affected the world. Who's in the back? Who's in the back? Nigel?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
That was around the Black Power Revolution.
That was around Black Power Revolution, civil rights. That's when Islam started to gain a ton of momentum, a whole ton of momentum because of Elijah Muhammad. Right? From Wallace Farrar to Elijah Muhammad, Pharaoh Khan, Malcolm X, all the way up till today, right? So around that time, it started gaining a whole ton of momentum. And of course, Black Power Revolution was a time where the oppressed people of the European nations on the Western side were I don't want to say rebelling, but were organizing themselves. All right. It wasn't of the Lord. It wasn't, the Passover. It wasn't, the high holidays. It wasn't Sabbath. But it was an oppressed people's best attempt of, separating and gaining something, or initially trying to separate, but then of course later integrating. All right. That whole movement made it all throughout the 12 tribes of Israel. If you look historically, a lot of things was going on in all the islands, in all the tribes, all the way down. All right. Also in around the 60s is when what else happened? Major thing for us.
So I guess, repeat the question again, sir.
In the 60s, what is the major thing that happened for us that's important for us?
So I guess, sir.
Was
it that you got civil rights, sir?
Simba.
UPK was picking up some.
Give him a hand. I'll get it up. I'll get it up. Come on, Sean. Hey, I catch up now. I catch up. Nah, I'm joking. I'm just joking. All right. It was also established. All right. But now everybody else was following a philosophy, some god of another nation, their own self, but the UPK is following the Lord. All right. So now in Trinidad around that time, also the 60s and the 70s, Islam started to gain popularity. Islam started to rise, right?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Islam from America. Come on.
Judah shall be praised. Yes, well, give me the scripture. Genesis 49 and what? 10?
Genesis 49 and 10.
Mm-hmm. Give me the one with his brothers.
Oh, Deuteronomy.
Nah, it's right there in Genesis 49. Right or wrong? The one with his brothers. Right? What was happening in North America when the Nation of Islam started to move and trickle? And of course, the two sections, the Nation of Islam is what? The more formal, bow tie, hey, how you doing, sir? Yes, and talking all proper. And of course, you have the more radical side. You know, the kufi and the dress. You ain't gonna never see Farrakhan in a kufi, right? You ain't seen Malcolm X in a kufi, but you did see who in a kufi and a dress?
Okay, sir.
Abu
Bakr, sir.
Abu Bakr. All right, that's the movement that started happening here. Come on.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 8.
Judah,
thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
You'll never forget that, brother. You'll never forget that. Judah is who thy brethren shall praise, brother. Like, unknowingly, everybody follows Judah in everything. Every single thing. You get the point? That's why the white man kept the tribe of Judah to himself. Right? When I say the white man, I'm saying the white man. There's other white men. The British kept Benjamin. The Spaniards kept Ephraim and, you know, Issachar. You know what I mean? The French kept him. But the white man kept the big brother who everybody else gonna follow. But Judah's captivity ended way after everybody else's own. Damn near 100 years after. You understand? So now that's happening. Now the Nation of Islam is different than that type of Islam that the Abu Bakr from Trinidad is subscribed to. His type of Islam is more what? Come on.
Radical, sir?
They'll describe it as radical. In the truth, you describe it as more Arabic. You understand? His type of Islam is much more Ishmael. It's serving Ishmael. It's, you know, high waters. You know what the high waters is, right? The pants that stop about 3 inches above your ankle bone. All right? The slippers, the man dressed with the pants underneath, dyeing the beard red, the kufi. You get the point? That's Ishmael. Right? Come on.
So when in the island, sir, when you wear cut-off foot pants, you say that come from Arabic?
No.
Okay.
No. The brother asks, you know how most Benjamites, you know, you cut off the jeans, right? The jeans get a little too young for you. You turn it into something else that's fly. Right? You know, Popcorn says straight jeans and fitted cut off jeans pants with the clocks. Right? That's style. That's Israelite style. That's something different. You get the point? And that's something different. Now, of course, Esau, looking at how popular Islam is amongst black people, started making them capris for men that was mimicking high waters and mark. All right, you probably got to be a little older to remember it, but it was like 3/4 pants that stopped below your calf. All right, that's really Islam way. Right, that's why the damn big t-shirts would come all the way down to your knee. You're damn near dressing like a Muslim, you ain't even know. You get the point? So anyway, so Abu Bakr was in charge of the Jamaat al-Muslimin. They are more Ishmael based. They are more Arabic influenced than Elijah Muhammad. Get the point? The key difference is it's reflected in who Abu Bakr blamed for the condition of Trinidad. Before Islam turned fully Christian, which it is today, at that time, Islam was known for saying something. Anybody knows what it is? No?
There's no God but Allah.
Well, okay, well, they all say that shit, right? The white man is the devil, right? They were known for saying it, not because they originated it, but of course because of their popularity, their populace, how much people they had. Their voice was huge at that time, But of course, the white man, the devil, started where, Simba? Remind them?
UPK, sir.
Say, who knows the address? 1 West.
1 West.
1 West. Right? The white man is the devil is exclusive to 1 West, brother.
Right.
Right? You cannot find the white man is the devil in the Quran. Show it to me. Right? You could find the white man could be a Muslim if he changed. You could find that.
Right.
You will not find the white man as the devil. That's UPK. Right? Nation of Islam was pushing that in the 60s and 70s because, of course, around that time in Harlem, New York, they had the running with Abba Bivens. You'll go check out John Mahaiman's class from last Thursday, I believe. He went into the history of the UPK, went into the history of how the Nation of Islam murdered Abba Bivens because he came up against Islam and the Quran, right? A lot of that militancy and that stance against the white man came from us, but because of their numbers and their popularity amongst black people, it, of course, it was attributed to them, but nowhere in the Quran could you find white man as the devil. Nowhere could you find this devil, which is their mantra, what they say. All right? Now, the Nation of Islam believes that. The Muslims that follow after, more on the Arabic side, and wear the kufi and the dress, you don't hear them talking about the white man as the devil. That's not in their doctrine as much. You understand? They talk of they more talk about our God says that you must fight oppression. If you can't fight it physically, you must speak against it. If you can't speak against it, you must think against it. If you can't think, you have a whole damn hierarchy that you have to know about fighting, you know, about rebelling, which is what it is really. Come on.
Also, sir, the history of school, sir, you know what I'm saying? So we was at one West Islam.
That's right. Officer Hazard, bring out a heavy point. Bring it again.
Yeah. So when the Israelite school was at 1 West 125th Street, the Nation of Islam was at 1 East 125th Street. So they was across the street from each other on 5th Avenue. So, you see what I'm saying? So a lot of times they will come over and try to battle us.
There was interaction.
Right.
There was a ton of interaction. I even heard how one of the brothers confronted Malcolm X and told him he was an Israelite.
Right.
And there's a loose mention of it in his biography. Right. In his book, he talks about meeting the Hebrews on the streets of Harlem. But of course, at that time, there ain't no fake Israelite groups.
That's right.
There's only 1 West.
That's
so
right.
You know who we're talking about. And they told him he was an Israelite. And of course, he listened for a minute and then said, nah, I'm not going to give up this chair right next to, Elijah. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? Give up all this power to come down there and, be hated by everybody? Why? Because really, Islam is a different form of Christianity that appeals to Israel. Because Christianity is so feminine in nature. A man naturally gravitates towards masculine. That's why young brothers get involved in street gangs versus the church. Now, and they ain't wrong for it either. They're halfway right. You get the point? They're halfway right for it. That's why Islam appeals to so many young black men. Because why? What happened after the 60s and 70s? After civil rights, the crack epidemic, women's lib, most black households were destroyed. Men were out of the house, lack of control. You have young, strong, able-bodied young black brothers looking for guidance. And as he walk in the street, what happens?
Like yes, sir.
Come on, Nigel.
You get a trap.
You get trapped. Somebody come up to you with some oil. Smell that, brother. Hey, brother. Do you know you're the original Asiatic man? Assalamu alaikum, brother. Walaikum salam. And to you, it's something like, oh shit, what the hell is that he say? And as they're talking, well, the Prophet, peace be upon him, inshallah, assalamu alaikum. You see it. It's seducing because, of course, you tired of Jesus. You tired of somebody dancing around like a homosexual.
Right.
This dude come up talking some foreign language, I ain't got to tell you Israel's affinity to something foreign.
Right, right.
You understand? You remember Bruce Lee? How many of y'all down there used to go watch all them kung fu movies and practice the kung fu? Tiger and crane, scorpion kick. You know what I mean? Foreign cultures. So now you have a brother who in the street, brother out there, young brothers looking up to him. He talking this Islam talk. It's a natural recruiting flow.
Right.
It happened all over, and it also happened in Trinidad. All right. So now, boy, we're at 9:33. Next week on Power. Goddamn, I damn near want to go and I have something healthier tonight, which I'm grateful for. But I know these brothers had to get back up the road. But okay, this is definitely the anniversary of it. All right. Hold on. So around that same time, what is Trinidad known for? What is Trinidad known for? What's okay? Jamaica is known for what? Andrew.
Reggae music.
Reggae music. Grenada is known for what? Who from Grenada there? Who look like they got some Grenadian blood? Rocky, boy. Rocky, where you at? Let me see that. Where you at? Rocky from Grenada? Don't worry about it. What Grenada is known for? Rocky.
Spice and nutmeg.
Spice and nutmeg. And tourism. What is Trinidad known for? And don't nobody tell me Carnival, get out of the class. Salam. Go ahead, let me hear you. No bills though. Reggae music paying bills.
Like yes, sir.
Let me get Nigel. Nigel, if you get this wrong, Nigel. If you get this wrong, come on. Bring me home.
Like yes, sir. Oil and minerals.
Oil and natural gas. Trinidad is still known for that till this day. They said the oil reserves was low. Somebody went tapping somewhere off the northeast coast. They find 300 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. In comes America with Atlantic LNG. And gas, gas out the ass, excuse my language, right? But somehow the country is still poor and suffering because of who?
Okay, sir.
Go ahead.
I.S.U.P.K.
The white man is the devil.
Right.
That would have stopped the coup. That would have saved everybody's life.
That's right.
The knowledge of the white man being the devil is so intricate and important to your life everywhere. Period.
Right.
No matter what situation you in. If you could just keep in your head, white man is the devil, you will make the right decision all the time.
That's right. Right.
You ain't got to know the Bible back to front, brother. You ain't got to know, you ain't got to know Philemon. You ain't got to know Philemon 3 and 6 and Habakkuk, 1 and 19. You ain't got to know that. You ain't got to know the history of Susanna.
Right.
Once you know the white man is the devil, you are going to make the right decision at all times.
Right.
You understand? Trinidad was, loose with oil, bleeding oil in the 50s and the 60s. You had companies like Amoco, BG. What does BG stand for?
British gas.
British Gas, which later turned into what? British Petroleum. After the Queen and America done sucked the oil out of Trinidad, where the wells wasn't producing so much, they pulled out and left. And soon after they left, oil production started dipping. But before oil production dipped, what dipped?
Okay, sir.
Go ahead.
Was it the jobs and mobile cases, sir? That's around the great depression somewhere when it had one of that in Trinidad. I can't remember exactly when, but it had
Nope.
Wait, go ahead. So, all right.
No.
Relax.
Go ahead.
The currency.
Say that one more time, Mark.
You see that?
Say that one more time.
Currency.
Say it again.
Currency.
Currency. You're on it, but no.
Like I said.
Go ahead.
The price of oil?
The price of oil. The price of oil started dropping. All right. In 1960, the price of one barrel was $1.63 US. By 1974, it was $11. By 1980, it was 35 US dollars. How much is 35 US dollars? I mean, in the 80s, it was around $4.50 to $1, $5 to $1, something like that. So what was the price in Trinidad if it's 35 US a barrel?
Like I said. It's about $100 a barrel plus.
About $175 a barrel. $175 per barrel back in those days, brother, is guap money. That's guap money. If you have wells, okay, what's the production right now, Nigel, of Trinidad? Production.
Just over 20,000.
Just over 20,000, right? When I was there, they was doing close to, I think, 30, 33, 36, something like that. If it dipped under 30, it was a hell. So now it dipped more to just over 20,000. Now, oil ain't flowing like how it was back then. Back then, them wells was gushing out. So we probably talking about how much? Go ahead, Nigel.
Over 100,000.
Over 100. You understand? So now we talking about 100,000. They do the maths. 175 TT by $100,000 per day. What figure is that, Hazard? $17 million a day. $17 million a day, give or take, in 1980. Right? 1980, it was that. Now, after 1980, it was a steady decline, brother. Steady decline in the price of oil. You know why? Because who controls oil? Come on. Yes. Which really is the white man. But them Arabs own, they the dope boys of the oil game. You understand? They the duffel bag boys in the oil. If they turn off the pipe and tell you no oil for the rest of the year, that's that. You understand? The oil cartel, OPEC, all them go ahead, the Saudis, go ahead.
Like I said. If I'm not mistaken, Trinidad oil was discovered here before Saudi Arabia.
I can't say that for sure. I can't say that for sure. But I do know at the time, Trinidad was major because of the size of the island and the amount of oil that was coming out of here. Go ahead.
Like I said, I believe at that time, that early time, the largest producers of oil. And because there was over 100 years of history of oil production, over 100.
Yeah, definitely. It was
only came in around the 60s and 70s.
It was coming up, but I can't say for sure if they didn't have it over there because, brother, their shit would just come up all the ground. Same thing like ours. So I can't say for sure where who had it first or whatever. But it was already established. I want to believe they was already established because the oil prices is really they set the price. You understand that OPEC, that cartel, they control supply and demand, right? When you see prices going up, it's not because oil is scarce. It's just they decide they closing up. You know it, Nigel. You know sometimes you cut back a well. Somebody get your order, go close the well. Production slow. You understand? When the union striking down there, what do they tell the brothers? Let the wells close. Because if the well's not maintained, they close on their own. The valves downstream, they just close and no more oil coming. You don't want to give us wage increase? No problem, no oil. And that's the same thing they do in the Middle East. Anyway, So these prices of oil started declining. At the same time, Trinidad's oil production started declining. Around the 80s, when around 1980, hold on, 1980 was 35. By the time it got to 1987, it was 1986, it was $13.50. You understand? Which is about a third of the price. Right? Now, if you look at the history of oil, it's a cycle. It's a wave. It's always a wave. It's highs and lows, highs and lows. It was bound to happen. It was going to happen. It was going to happen that the oil price was going to dip. Oil always dips and goes up. You see it today with your gas prices. Gas goes up, gas goes down. The same concept. And of course, when it went down, what happened? I'm talking to her. Go ahead. So go ahead.
The refinery started to close down, started to lose jobs.
Okay, I think that happened a little bit before when them American companies pulled out. But something happened on a national scale. That's okay. Something else before the jobs. Something before the jobs. Go ahead.
Did it devalue the currency?
Why would it devalue the currency? Okay. Hello?
There's less money in the country, sir.
Uh-huh.
We mean that there's less money in the country. You know what I'm saying? I think the economy is valued less.
The economy is valued less, less money circulated.
Right.
But what happened to the last decade of 3 times the income? Surely if, let's say I'm living today and I'm living on, 50, 60 grand a year, right? Let's say that's my income. And tomorrow, my income goes to 150,000 a year. I was living on 1/3 of that before. Now, when my income is 3 times the amount, how will I live? So now what? Now you could spend more money, but do I have to spend more money? No, I spend more money because you was living on 1/3. A wise man would not spend it all. A wise man would bank. He would spend 1/3, bank 1/3, and then spread 1/3, right? Or into investments or whatever. That was not happening. When the oil prices dropped and our production dropped, the people felt the brunt of the pain. And there was no cushion. There was no safety net financially because of the planning of all those years. All that extra money, all that profit they made before went into the hands of who? Went into the hands of who? Go ahead, Nigel.
Like I said, I.S.U.P.K.
I.S.U.P.K, but give me Trinidad specifically.
O'Halloran.
Again?
O'Halloran.
O'Halloran. Give me some other names.
Like I said.
Uh-huh.
SHALAM, Texaco, Exxon, they was around that time, sir?
There were oil companies there, but I'm talking about, once Trinidad produced the oil, there's revenue paid into to the government. And there was a ton of excess revenue. I was making profit for years, down near 10 years. Then it flipped. So now in the dry spell, when it was, when it wasn't so nice, all that money from a whole decade ago, where is that money?
Like I said.
Come on.
So the Aboods and the Montanos.
Thank you very much. Give him a hand.
Yeah.
Right? Staff girls, yeah. All them Syrians, which is another group of heathens that control Trinidad. Right? Was the richest one named Galawan?
Anthony Norman Sabga.
Anthony Norman Sabga. All right? Because why? They all have businesses in the private sector, but they're rich, powerful men who've been existing for a long time and do have government ties. Right? Trinidad is a small country, brother. Small country. It's possible for you to know everybody, which means when the government has contracts that they're giving out millions of dollars for somebody to come pave the road, guess what? If I'm Junior Sammy and I could buy 2 of them dump trucks and just fill it up with, you know, sharp sand and pitch and tar, I could go get, you know, millions of dollars from the government and do some shoddy work, road work, and over years, guess what's going to happen to my small company? It's going to get big. When I was in Trinidad, Junior Sammy had 2 trucks. I'm not going to lie. And he was doing nothing with them but just jacking up the road. Where's Junior Sammy now? Huh? Go ahead, Ak.
He is one of the biggest companies in Trinidad.
One of the biggest contractors in Trinidad. And he started off not knowing nothing about nothing. I'm telling you straight up and down. But of course, political ties, a friend here who's going to give him all the contracts. Over time, Mark, if you don't know nothing about fixing this, if you get $1 million a year, eventually you're going to learn how to do it. And then them same ones going to turn around and say, what about the young black brothers selling drugs or committing crime? What are you going to say?
Okay, sir.
Go ahead.
You do it. So why does they have to cut themselves too?
Why you can't just go buy a truck and build your empire like I did? You know why, nigga? Because you came on a boat set up by the white man and you was strategically put in place to receive funds that my foreparents bled and died for.
That's right.
In slavery. When the white man left Trinidad, he put East Indians over us. Then he put Chinese over the East Indians. Then he put Syrians over the Chinese. And the money, by the time it make it past the East Indian pocket, is pennies. But now, Jamaat al-Muslimin is on the scene. Imam Yassin Abu Bakr, right? We tired of the things in the what's going on in the country. They're doing marches, they're doing protests, they're recruiting, and now it's time for action. Because the Quran tells us, don't stand for oppression. What the Quran doesn't tell you is, your brother is an Israelite like you, and you cannot murder him.
Right.
What the Quran doesn't tell you is, serve the Lord, and he will be an enemy to your enemies. That's what the Quran doesn't say. He did not go fight our oppressor. He became our oppressor. No matter how noble it appeared his intent, no matter how at the time, because you talk to different people. I remember hearing about it growing up. You know, a young boy, you ain't too sure about the politics, but now you put your ear because the whole country shut down. I remember as a little boy, I was into MacGyver. You'll look at me funny. Next thing is something with Trinidad. You listen, Gabar, y'all drop over here. Y'all, all you Judites over here, y'all understand something. Let me tell you something. Y'all used to 30-something channels. Right. Brother, I felt like I was in Disneyland if I went to somebody's house that had a satellite dish. I grew up with one channel. One. Right. And whatever was on TV is what you're watching. You ain't complaining about shit. You're watching them East Indian movies for 4 hours on a Sunday. You're watching cricket for 5 days, even though I hate cricket. Still like it. Right? Only because as a child I did. Now I could appreciate the shit. You know why? Because as a child, what do you want to watch as a child? Cartoons. Cartoons. And you wake up Saturday morning to watch your cartoon, and guess what's on the screen? Well, we have a fast bowler here. He's bowling really fast, and the pitch is fast. Nigga, come on. So, of course, July 27th, Friday night, I'm waiting on news to get done to watch MacGyver. Dun, 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 dun. See this nigga walk on the screen. The country is now in our hands. God is in control, so God took the country from your prime minister. Where is your prime minister? Where is he today? And I'm like, yo, where the F is MacGyver? And I kept coming back to look for MacGyver, and I couldn't see it. So the next week of my life, I was trying to make sense of who is this dude on the screen? What is he doing? Why I can't go out at night? What is all these big fat people they're showing on TV on the ground? Later, I found out they were dead bodies that were swollen because of the curfews. They couldn't find them. And when they did find them, they look as big as this goddamn table. Busted open, guts busted open. When I looked at the city, it was burnt flat. Now, here's the part. How to go has to have next week on Power, right? So next week, we're going to go into just before the coup was staged. We're going to go into the premise that surrounded the coup, right? You know, as far as common history goes, the coup was because of political biasness or corruption, economic hardship. I have a tape with Abu Bakr saying he arrested the government because a young lady, I forgot her name, she was in the airport on some drug task force and stopped several government ministers with kilos of cocaine with millions of dollars of street value. When she went to the commissioner of police, he didn't believe her. She was later, you know, killed in a police training exercise on the base. Abu Bakr said that's why he took over the government. This is talking about, you know, 25 years that he's saying this. He's been to court. His lawyer has told him what he should say. But at the time, brother, nobody was clean. Absolutely nobody was clean. We're going to go into the whole coup. Who was in the parliament at the time? Who wasn't in the country? How is it that he shot the president, he shot the prime minister, threatened to kill him, and is still alive today and still free? We're going to go into everything with tape, with, you know, proof and support right on 10 o'clock. All right? I hope you're all interested now. I hope everybody's sitting up like, oh, shit, nigga, next week. Can't wait. All right? So no sweat. We're going to wrap it up there for tonight. But just know the coup started July 27th, 1990. It ended on August 1st with a surrender. But of course, the circumstances surrounding it was very foul and corrupt on all sides. Nobody gets passes. But it never would have happened if we were taught the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
With that, Officer Galawa.
This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcement. Right? We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means tenth in Hebrew, and it's pronounced Ma'aishara. 10% of every penny, of every increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation, which is the memorial of blowing of trumpets, which is Monday the 10th of September 2018. You can find that in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24 to 25. Remind Akiam and Aquathium to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which include black boots, like shirts, like pants, like headband or scarf. Right?
All right. Vacuum. Y'all pay attention. Y'all focusing. All right. Y'all focused. Y'all heard what Officer Galawan just said, right? All right. Goodbye. You might have to move down again. The echo. All right. So what? Right, let me read it one more time. Salaki. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, he should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband, and scarf. All right? Akim, right upon that time, brother. It pains me to see y'all go from, boys to men. It pains me. You're like my little brothers at this time. And I know after this week, brother, y'all will no longer be my little brothers, but y'all will be soldiers alongside me in this army, if you choose to be. Great glory, but it also comes with a lot of condemnation. And what's another word for condemnation? Checking. Getting checked. Getting corrected. Getting whipped into shape. You understand? And whipped into shape. This brother right here, Officer Tommy Young, was an excellent trooper. I'm going to tell you, excellent. He has a reputation in DCR. Excellent trooper. I thought I was bad, brother. This brother make me admire him. I thought I was the baddest trooper, since, Peter. You know what I mean? This brother here, brother, I was like, good night, Irene. This brother is a perfect trooper. If trooper had a rank, he'd be a general trooper. I'm trying to tell you, he was that good and that meticulous about his job. If you want to join this brotherhood and be counted in the ranks of men, next week you would be given an opportunity to take that oath. It's going to be an oath before the Lord and men. You understand? It's going to be an oath that you agree to, a promise that you swear to. You understand? Before the Lord and men, that you would take up this sword and never put it down. It's an extremely, extremely serious decision. If I were you, I would just go wear white and get tambourine tonight. You understand? But I already made a decision. I don't have a way out, but I can tell you, it's not nice on this side, Akim. It's like talking behind a prison glass. You don't need to be in here. You don't have to be in here. You'll still be a brother. You come to class and be a student. You serve, help the Lord. But brother, if you want to drink of this cup right here, contact Officer Galawan by by Wednesday of this week, letting him know, yes, I want misery for the rest of my life. Yes, I want to give up my weekends. Yes, my phone would be on at all hours of the day and night, and I will answer at all times. Yes, I will follow every single order that's given to me. Every single one. I don't give a damn. I want in. Or, Salakia, sir, with all due respect, I see the work you're all doing, and I do not think I can live up to the extreme reputation that the UPK has carved since 1969. And rather than be a blemish on your excellent reputation, I would rather be a student until the Lord sees it fit that I get strength to come and join the ranks. That's no shame. That's an honorable thing to do. What's not honorable is to take this oath and then break it.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
You don't have to be a trooper. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. Me, I had to do it.
That's right.
I got a CD in Trinidad, right there where you all was at. It's called The Destruction of America. And by that time, I plotted for a year how I'll get my black ass over here so I could learn from these men.
Right.
I spoke to Commander GEN.YAHANNA on a 3-way phone call in St. Augustine in the north. I never met the brother before, and he set me right. And I was like, okay, in 6 months, I'm going to see you. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I did it.
Right.
I had to do this. I couldn't stop. I had to do it.
Right.
You don't have to. You get the point? You don't have to. Your manhood ain't going to be counted short. You don't have to. But if you want to, brother, Give God a call on Wednesday.
That's right.
All right? You got a call on Wednesday and be in class next Sunday. And booted and rooted and ready to get to work, brother, because we got work to do.
That's right.
Everybody clear.
That's right.
You don't have to do it. You're still going to be a brother. I'm still going to drink Johnny Walker with you when I come to Trinidad. You might be buying it, though, but I'll still drink it with you. Any point? Brother, you'll come and say yay or nay. I'll take the sword, so I'll take up the sword with you. Right? I mad him. Boy, Galawan, you got it.
Stand and face the east. You got to say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Habanawa.
Habanawa.
Shabbat Shemaya.
Shabbat Shemaya.
Kwadash.
Kwadash.
Haya.
Haya.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakwatka.
Malakwatka.
Taba'a.
Taba'a.
Ratazaka.
Ratazaka.
Haya.
Haya.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Baharataza.
Baharataza.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Haya.
Haya.
Bashemaya.
Bashemaya.
Nathan.
Nathan.
Zanawa.
Zanawa.
Laham.
Laham.
Kal.
Kal.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalak Nawa.
Wasalak Nawa.
Kawam Was Nawa.
Kawawat Nawa.
Kasalak Nawa.
Kasalak Nawa.
Kawam Was Yanawa.
Kawawat Yanawa.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Taba Yanawa.
Taba Yanawa.
Banasayawan.
Banasayawan.
Kabal.
Kabal.
Kawashai Nawa.
Kawashai Nawa.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Kamalakwat.
Kamalakwat.
Wahala.
Wahala.
Wahasapara.
Wahasapara.
Wa'ai Walamium.
Wa'ai Walamium.
Haman.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come. Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Done.
Thy will be done.
In earth, as it is in heaven.
Earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
Give us our debts.
Forgive us
Forgive
our
us our debts.
Our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
Debtors.
Lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation.
into
Temptation.
temptation,
But deliver us
but deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
And the kingdom,
For thine
That is the kingdom.
and the power,
And the power.
and the glory,
And the glory.
forever.
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 So be it.
So be it.
So, go ahead, Galawan, call it.
Okay. I imagine Shabbat. I imagine. Alright.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barak a thumb.
Sa. I imagine Shabbat. I imagine. Alright. I imagine Shabbat. Yadamta. Francis Smith.
All right, Akim. Next week, we're going straight in. Y'all go get something to eat. Y'all go straight home. Next week, brother, I expect the room to be empty. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.